So quick story time. I'm a Navy chief. I've been in the Navy for about 19 and a half years. I have about 5 months left until I retire. I grew up in a little bitty town in Illinois, had about 8,000 people. I joined the Navy when I was 19 years old, married my high school sweetheart, went on and we ended up having twin daughters pretty much right away, and they're amazing. And then another daughter a couple years later, and then eventually fostered and adopted our son Jackson, which he is now 11. He's actually autistic, but he is my best pal. Let me tell you, the way he just brightens up a room with his smile, it's incredible. But going back to 2015, it seemed like pretty much one of the best years of my life. I made chief, E7 in the Navy, first time up. We had just adopted my son Jackson. Everything was going as good as you could possibly want it to go. All our goals were happening and everything was just working great. I ended up deploying, and I got the ship I wanted, and went out there, came back, and that's when life really took a turn. I found out 3 days later that my wife, Sarah, had stage 4 appendix cancer. Now imagine this, I just get back from a 6-month deployment, been back for 3 days. We haven't even fully integrated myself back into the family, and found out she was sick. And there she was, 28 years old, stage 4 appendix cancer, about a week before Christmas. But I would tell you, we made a promise to each other the second we found out that we're going to find the good in every single day. And that's what we did, and she ended up getting out of the hospital after a very big surgery on Christmas Day, and ended up being one of the best Christmases we had ever had. Even though she had stage 4 cancer and all these different things were happening, we ended up having one of the best Christmases ever, because it's not about what you have. It's about who you spend your time with, who you spend your life with, and the way you look at things and the way you react. Well, fast forward 10 short months, and she ended up passing away in the hospital in my arms. We went into the ER. It was right before Halloween, and little did I know it was going to be our last hospital visit. And we went in there, and that night, all her machines started going off. All these things were happening, and at this point, it was 10 months after we had found out she had cancer. She was so sick. I'm talking throwing up every day, like several times a day. Lots of chemo visits. I mean, it was hard. I wouldn't have wished this upon my worst enemy. I mean, it was really hard on her. I was trying to take care of Sarah, take care of my 4 kids, while also being an active duty chief, trying to, continue to serve and take care of my sailors as well. And it took a lot from life to finally humble me enough to ask for help. And it was tough, let me tell you. And but before she passed away that night, I'm telling you, all her machines and buttons, all these things were going off. It was crazy. Like 2 a.m, all these doctors came running in and nurses, and it's like time stopped. And then they looked right at me and they said, "You have a really hard choice. You can either choose to put her on life support, where she will suffer, and you can't treat cancer while she's on life support, and it was just going to be rough, or we can take her up to the ICU and make her as comfortable as she could possibly be, and you have anywhere from 24 hours to 4 days with her." And let me tell you, talk about one of the hardest decisions of my entire life. And I was standing there just kind of freaking out. And then I look through the crowd of doctors, and I look over and I see Sarah, and she gives me a wink. And we had talked about these things a lot. And so I knew what to do. And I ended up, we took her up to the ICU where she was comfortable. And that next couple of days, I remember her talking to all her good friends, her family, and then me. She got to me and she made me promise 3 things. She said, "No matter what, continue to find the good in every single day. And I know it's going to be hard. And then continue to do good for others, because the whole world deserves to feel just a smidge of kindness. And then open my heart up for love again." And I said, "I guarantee I promise you I can do the first 2, but open my heart up for love, that's crazy. Like, you're the only person in my life." She's like, "You have to promise, because, you're only 30 years old, and, someone deserves to feel your love." And so that next day, she ended up passing away in my arms. And I remember laying there crying for literally what felt like hours, not knowing what I was going to do, and walking out to our minivan, leaving that hospital without her in that wheelchair, and going home and talking to the kids and wondering how I'm going to get through whatever life was about to throw our way. And I remember going back to mine and Sarah's room and sitting the kids down and telling them, it's not your fault, because we know kids' imaginations will take over. And I said, no matter what, we're going to stick together. And that's what we did, and I remember spending several days just staring out the front door, wondering how I'm going to do what I'm going to do. How am I going to take care of the kids? What am I going to do career-wise? And all these worries were flying through my head. But somehow I just knew it was going to work out. And it has, and you fast forward now about 7 years. I'm now actually remarried, and that's a whole other story in itself, to a beautiful woman named Wendy. And she actually has the same birthday as my late wife, Sarah. And that was a sign that I kind of followed when I first started talking with Wendy. And we were friends at first, legitimate just friends. And then we eventually got married, and now we have a huge blended family with 6 kiddos. And blending a family isn't easy either, believe me, folks. And but we managed to do it, and we do it by just communicating with each other and being honest. And let me tell you, it's been wild. I have a crazy life, and I think we all have a crazy life at some point. We all have hardships. We all either have or will or are going through something. And this is your reminder. This story hopefully inspires you to lead with kindness, because you don't know what people are going through, and you have no clue what's going to happen. Life's short, so don't wait for something super bad to happen before you get out there and you live your life and you find the good in every day. Let me tell you, when Sarah was sick, it was very hard sometimes to find the good. But we'd either, at chemo, we would sit in this thing called the bamboo garden and just talk about life. And that was our good for today. Or rather, it's going to Disneyland. And even now, finding the good in every day. You gotta find a way, no matter how hard life gets. And it can get wild, and life tends to just come out of nowhere and hit you with that left hook. And it may knock you down, but you can't stay down. It's okay to go down there, and it's okay to be sad or mad or glad or whatever emotion you have, but don't stay there, because you're important. And listen, if you need help ever, rather it's through therapy or anything else, or just friends, ask. It's not a sign of weakness. It took me years before I finally got up the nerve to get therapy and get help. And I'm still working on it. I'm still working on me. There's days where I cannot figure out why I'm so sad. I have no clue why. I can't pinpoint it, because there's a million great things going on, and it just happens. And you own it, and then you try to find something good, and don't let the things that you don't like take away from the things that you do, And so that's kind of my story in a nutshell. Believe me, there's a lot more to it, but it's been a few years since, quite a bit of years since Sarah passed away. And again, I'm married to an amazing woman named Wendy, and we're just living life, and that journey in between, I ended up writing a book, and all these great things happened. And I really, truly learned that life is happening for me, not to me. And I try to use my story, our story, and all that hard, very, very hard stuff that happened to hopefully help others through whatever it is they're going through. And I feel like maybe that's why things happen the way they did, and I know I'm kind of rambling on, but this is just your reminder that, unless you're literally dying, everything in life is figure outable. So get out there, find your reason to smile. If you want to do something, do it. Don't worry about what other people think or say or do. That's them. You can't be the best version of someone else. So just live, all right? Life's too short not to. So go out there. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a great life, because you deserve it.